It didn't listen to me. It walked out of the thicket. It turned around and looked at me.
They looked up, and in this tree, there was a monkey man. And the monkey man jumped down out of the tree and started running away.
And suddenly they're right in front of the car. He slams on the brakes and manages to stop, and he's skidding because it's like quite, gravelly. And literally for about a second and a half, they just stood there because they don't know where to go, and you tell them panicking. They're like roof flapping, and their face is like twitching.
Welcome back to Bigfoot Society, a podcast where we focus on cryptids, the strange, and the unexplained of this world. If you've got a story or something weird to share, send an email over to me at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. And if you'd like to support this show, head on over to patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. And now, on with the show. All right, Bigfoot Society, we've got the pleasure of talking to a new friend on the phone tonight here. We've got Jeff calling in, and he is calling in to talk to us about some things that he has experienced. How's it going, Jeff?
Great. Thanks for having me.
You got it, yeah. Believe ran into you over on Facebook, correct?
Correct, yep.
All right, so I'll let you go ahead, and I might ask you some questions along the way, but I'll let you go ahead and start where you'd like to, Jeff.
Sure. Well, I'm a 49-year-old, pretty average guy. I live in central New Hampshire. I've been with my partner for 20-plus years. We have two children together. I'm a carpenter, builder in the area. I ski, snowboard, bike, skateboard. I'm an avid solo hiker, strictly solo. I love history, anything Civil War, World War II, Vietnam, anything like that. Big buff. Love archaeology, cryptozoology, of course. Anything weird, paranormal, ghosts. Just love it all. I've fallen down the rabbit hole, pretty much of all of it. And I grew up in southwestern New Hampshire, in a small town called Marlborough, which is a bit of a hot spot, come to find out over the years. But recently there has been a documentary that came out about the area, which has sparked my interest even more, of course. But it started for me, the whole Bigfoot interest started when I was about 4 years old, when my family went and saw the movie Sasquatch, Legend of Bigfoot, at the drive-in in Keene, New Hampshire. And that really started it for me. I was taken back by it all. It really scared me. It was stuck with me through the years, and it was so vivid. It just took a huge interest in it. And it wasn't but a year later, after I saw that movie, and I was a 5-year-old, I was out wandering in the woods, out past our local cemetery. And I was, 5 years old, not supposed to be wandering around the woods by myself, of course. But found myself way out farther than I should have been. But I knew those woods and really wasn't scared. Made it out about a quarter mile past the cemetery, and felt so comfortable that I found this brook, then I decided to take my shoes and socks off and soak my feet in the brook. You know, I felt so comfortable out there. Like that's how I thought nothing of it. You know, it wasn't like maybe 30 seconds later after I got my feet into the water, I was just overwhelmed with a feeling of dread and that I was going to die. It was just absolute fear, huge. Now that I look back now, it was like a huge anxiety attack. But whether it was, you know, me feeling that maybe I was a little lost out in the woods, but I wasn't, because I knew exactly where I was. But this was something that stuck with me through the years. I threw my shoes and socks on as quick as I could. I didn't run. I walked out of there. I'd take two, three steps, look back. 2-3 steps, look back the whole way, all the way till I got to the cemetery. And that's when I hit the cemetery, I felt like, you know, I got in an open area. I got out of the woods. That's when I felt a little bit, you know, more comfortable, and the fear started going away. But it really stuck with me through the years that I felt driven out of the woods. You know, I saw nothing, smelt nothing, but this overwhelming fear that hit me, like I've never experienced it since. I really haven't. It's something that stuck with me through the years. And it being in Marlborough, through the years I've researched through the internet and stuff and come across that old accounts from Marlborough, of the Marlborough Monkey, and from John Horgan, actually, which I just listened to your podcast with him. It was great. And which I reached out to him a few years ago, and he was gracious enough to share with me all of his files and stuff on that. It was excellent. Loved it. Can't thank him enough. But I could not shake that from me. It really stuck with me through the years, and it will not ever leave me. You know, it was something that was like the worst anxiety attack I've ever had. And I'm someone who suffers from anxiety and depression. And this is something that I will never forget, ever. I ran home as soon as I got, you know, out of the cemetery. I ran and got to my house, and I told nobody. I told nobody what I did out there, because I was out in the woods, and I shouldn't have been out there, and they wouldn't have, would never let me back out there again.
That's such a fascinating story. Did you know anyone that has seen had a sighting of the Marlborough Monkey? I'm just curious about that as well.
Well, come to find out, after years, talked to my brother about it, and he's like, yeah, he knew of a couple of people in that same, not far from where I was. And he himself was growled at out hiking out there with his girlfriend.
Really?
He said it was like the deepest growl. It was like an earthquake. And so that's what he kind of shrugged it off, because he didn't want to panic his girlfriend at the time. And he just said, she was like, what was that? And he was like, oh, it's just like an earthquake or something, and like he knew it was no earthquake. And he said it was the loudest, deepest growl you could imagine, And that was not a mile from where I was.
Oh, wow. Have you ever gone back to that same spot again as an adult?
Yeah, well, I was just out there last year. I took my family up to the cemetery because I grew up next to the cemetery. I drive by that house now and again to the house I grew up in. Go out to the cemetery, and I happened to just walk out to, I stopped. I walked out to the woods a little ways, and I wanted to keep going, but I didn't have the time. But sure, yeah, I wanted to go out there and go to that brook again, because that brook goes to, we'd gone out there before. That brook goes up to a old spring house that had like this collapsed spring house. It's all dilapidated, and it's all into the brook itself. It's that was probably where I was going at the time, but I hadn't quite made it. I made it to the brook, and I was like, oh, I'll just soak my feet. And that was like the feeling of dread. That's that's what stuck with me. Dread. Like, I'm going to die, like right then and there. And that's when I threw my shoes and socks on, and I just had the sense enough as a kid. I don't know how, but I was don't run. I knew it was bear country. This is New Hampshire's bear country.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You can't go nowhere. You can't go nowhere without seeing a bear. So I was I knew not to run for some reason. I was smart enough. I didn't run. But I would take 2-3 steps and look behind me. 2-3 steps, look behind me. It wasn't until after I started researching in 2003, 2004 that I made the connection of I could have been zapped. Something could have scared me out of there without me knowing it.
Wow. Have you ever reached out to the? You're talking about the Marlborough Monkey documentary, correct?
Correct.
Have you ever reached out to Carrick St. Laurent as well?
I actually met him.
Okay, cool.
A couple of years ago.
Good.
And I just didn't actually. He didn't ask me, so I didn't. It was kind of a quick meeting. But no, I think he was probably in the midst of making it right then. I think he said. Yeah,
would have been about that time, I think. But oh man, that's so interesting. Yeah, John Horgan was such a cool guy to talk to. He's the nicest guy. Could have talked to. I could have talked to him for another few hours about his UFO investigations he did. We barely got into that. That guy has been to every major UFO hotspot over the last 30 years.
We have everything in common as far as that stuff's concerned,
yeah.
Even hockey,
Right, yeah, the Bruins.
UFOs.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it all. The account he speaks of, that his report of his account of the Marlborough Monkey is in the Marlborough Quarry. And I've been there several times just because I heard that report, and I've been there, just for fun to go in there before I even knew that too.
Sure.
It's pretty neat place.
Did you notice anything out of the ordinary when you were in there?
No, it's just old. It's an old stone quarry,
Yeah, growing up in Northfield, I wasn't into Bigfoot and stuff as a kid or a teenager enough to, go looking and things like that. And so I find out now that it's actually, it was close to a relatively big hotspot with the Marlborough Monkey. It just blew me away when I first found that out from Carrick. But it's very cool for you guys.
It's pretty neat. Once you get digging, there is some reports in the area in Marlborough, but they're Class B, I believe, stuff like that.
If you ever hear
sounds
of any Bigfoot stuff from the Northfield Mass, Winchester, New Hampshire area. You know that area? I'd be really interested. If it ever comes across your plate, just hit me up.
Not that area.
Yeah, I've never seen anything.
I've seen a footprint in Columbia, New Hampshire.
Oh, cool.
Out by Colebrook.
Yep, I know. Colebrook's wild, dude. I've been up there a lot as a younger kid. It's quite the area.
Yeah, that was probably 2004-ish. I was out. Me and a friend were fishing in a pond. He let me off to go so I could go answer the call of nature.
Mm-hmm.
But he left me. He dished me off on the. It's a snowmobile trail that comes off of the lake right there, the pond. And so I walked up the trail a little ways, and then in where the tracks, the snowmobile tracks, were dug into the mud. There was a clear, definite footprint mashed right into the ski track. Yeah, there's in this, I put all my fingers in the footprints.
Okay.
And so it was smashed into the mud. So where, if this was a bear footprint, the claws most certainly would have shown. There was just no way it could not have. Like it was like 6 inches down in the rut of the ski track.
Wow.
And I'd put all my fingers in the foot track, and it was a good 6 feet plus wide.
Crazy.
It's huge. And my buddy would not get out of the canoe to come look at it.
He's like, nah, that's all you.
You got to come look at this. It's like, nope. I'm staying right here. Like, nope.
That's funny, man. Good stuff.
It's like, there's no way there's, somebody out here walking barefoot. It was a rainy, cold weekend.
Wow.
Like, there's no way. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And there was no way it was a bear track. There was just no way. All winter, I've been seeing really crazy orbs, and that's the latest thing that I've been going through.
Okay.
I cannot explain. It's pretty wild.
In Marlborough area or Keene or?
No, right in central New Hampshire where I live.
Oh, wow.
In Marlborough.
Crazy. Down close to you?
I don't know what to make of that. Well, most of them have been what I call like high flyers. They look almost like a satellite, but they're not. They probably would guess like maybe in the 5,000 to 10,000 foot range,
Interesting.
In altitude, rainbow orbs is what I call them.
Really?
They just flash every color of the rainbow. And I've seen probably 15 to 20 of them, like all winter. And I just don't know what to make of it. I just taking my dog for a walk out in the morning and at night, and I see them,
I've heard of a lot of right now there's all sorts of weird stuff going on up in the skies, but I have heard of one of my friends got a report from the Swansea area that there was a sighting of something flying over. This was last week or the week before when all that stuff was going on.
Was it the Starlinks? Because I had happened to see that go over. I got the video of it and everything.
Jeff, supposedly per the witness, and this is on TikTok, so it's out in public. My friend Bethany took the report, but supposedly someone was driving through Swansea and they saw a large object fly over and 2 jets fly after it. And then they shot it down and they saw it fall behind a mountain in a ball of fire. And a bunch of other cars saw it too because they almost went off the road. Now, keep in mind, this is like just a witness report on TikTok, so that might not be very reputable, but I mean,
Well,
it's very interesting. It's an interesting
been happening
story.
a lot.
I know.
That's been happening a lot, it seems like, yeah.
So if you hear
Wow.
anything like that,
Yeah, that's neat.
you know, let me know. Definitely anything that can, you know, back that up. But the thing is that she hasn't gotten any more info, I believe, that, you know, verifies that from any other sources. So, but it's an interesting story that randomly happened in Swansea, New Hampshire, right?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love hearing the extra accounts like that, because I just moved, and I live in what I call the Ossipee Triangle.
Oh yeah.
There's been all sorts of random odd stuff here. Bigfoot, from Bigfoot to UFOs, you know, the orbs that I see, you name it. It's all been seen here. And I just moved right to the base of the mountains right here, just over the winter. So I'm like right at the base of the Ossipee Mountains right now.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully, you know, things, well, since I've moved, I've seen one of the orbs. But before I moved, that's when I saw the majority of them over by a lake I lived near. But when I travel, I used to commute up the road up along the Ossipee Mountains here, and up on Route 25, and that's where I've seen several red orbs right on the roadside.
Wow.
Cars driving by, everything. Like, nothing, like nobody cared, not a care in the world, it seems, you know. Like, am I the only one seeing these? You know, like, so just recently, I took my daughter shopping. On the way back, I was like, going to tell her, I was like, it's like, remember I've told you I saw some weird lights in this area? And like, before I could say that, I look up and there's 3 orbs, I'm not kidding, sitting on top of the telephone pole.
Really?
The cross member of the telephone pole?
Yeah.
Right next to each insulator of the on the wire.
Wow.
A red orb sitting, like, I thought they were Christmas lights at first, because it was just before Christmas. It was just a couple days before Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And then I was like driving by, I'm looking up at them, like, and I see them moving. I'm like, those are not Christmas lights. I had my daughter with me. I'm like, I'm not stopping. I cannot stop.
That's wild.
I don't want her to see this. I don't want her to see this at all.
Yeah. That's hard on a little kid. Yeah.
There was high strangeness. High strangeness, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And it was like right around dusk, cars driving by, nobody stopping or nothing. Like, so that area in particular, I've seen those 3. They're sitting on the telephone pole, and then I saw one directly across the street that was just scattering around up in the treetops, like the trees weren't there one morning.
Wow.
Bright red, orange, softball size orb. Oof. It was like the trees weren't even there for it. Like, it was incredible. That was like a 15 to a 20-second sighting of that. Like, didn't know what to make of it. I still don't, you know. All of them. I don't know what to make of all of them. I've seen so many now that I feel like I'm getting picked on, you know.
Right, yeah, they know who to come after. Well, you're my guy for high strangeness in southern New Hampshire, no doubt. Man, you're really seeing some crazy stuff out there, Jeff.
I don't know if it's because, you know, I've opened myself up.
Sure.
You know, I've fallen down the rabbit holes. You know, I've really took an interest in so many things. I don't know if I've heard of that many times on many podcasts. You know, people that take interest seem to experience more. You know?
That is true. I think that they start looking for certain things, and you got to be careful what you start looking at, because, well, we'll leave it there. But Jeff, it's been a fun chat with you. I appreciate you calling up and letting me know about your experiences. And if you happen to have anything else weird happen, please get in touch, and might do a follow-up in the future. At least keep in touch through Facebook. So
Absolutely.
Thank you, Jeff.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Bigfoot Society. If you like the show, please review and rate it 5 stars on iTunes. Hit the share button and send this episode to all your friends on social media. Subscribe to Bigfoot Society wherever you listen to podcasts. It doesn't cost a thing. Pick up a Bigfoot Society shirt or enamel pin over on our Etsy page, and people will tell you all about their Bigfoot sightings when you wear it. At least that's what people tell us. That's what happens. If you'd like to become an official member of Bigfoot Society with a membership card, a community of like-minded individuals, and extra content each month, then please consider becoming a supporter of the podcast by going to www.patreon.com/The Bigfoot Society. Thanks for listening.